All right, what's poppin', everybody? Welcome to the FNB App Academy 2025. I am your host. My name is Karabo Mohola. This is a perfect place to get all of you guys kickstarted on building that winning app of yours. All right, so the previous lesson was the start to our advanced phase with an intro to back-end development. And today we're going to be continuing with the back-end development journey, but with a lesson on building an API. And we have an amazing facilitator in a studio. We got Kingsley, who we all know him as Skinny. But before we get into that, let us meet the winners of the Best Health Solution at last year's App of the Year Awards, October Health.
We're all about bringing mental fitness to everyone that possibly could get it. We are a smartphone app at the moment, focusing on getting people the help they need before they need it. The thought idea came from our two co-founders, Alan Swaden and Alon Litz. They are both very passionate about mental wellness and mental well-being, and they realized very early on that with brick and mortar structures we were very limited to the amount of people we could reach, and so we leveraged technology to reach an almost infinity amount of people. We have a very, very, very hard-working small core team that have really put every bit of their energies into building the platform that we have today.
All right, so amazing right there from October Health. It's really important for us to understand the importance of our mental well-being, especially having powerful solutions that can help us maneuver in this chaotic world that we see today. All right, guys, so this is the perfect place to also talk about the importance of what we get to see, your reactions on our social spaces. It's always beautiful to see what you guys have been up to, showing us what these lessons have meant to you guys, but also letting the world know what is happening right here at this beautiful ecosystem, which is the App Academy. All right, so don't forget to hashtag FNB App Academy. Speaking about social media, let us see what you guys have been up to on social media this week.
So from the moment I heard of the FNB App Academy, I did not waste any time. I decided to join. And from the beginning, the lessons were clear, practical, and I believe they're made for people like me, people who needed a second chance to fall in love with code. I wasn't just learning, I was understanding. Web development, GitHub, UX design, APIs, they were all just words that didn't seem so foreign anymore. The best part, I wasn't alone. The communities and the mentors really made me feel like I do belong in tech.
All right, lovely videos right there, guys. Keep them coming. It's always amazing to see your guys' reactions on social media. All right, so this is the perfect time right now to jump in today's lesson as we continue with our back-end development journey with a lesson on building an API. Let us head over to meet Kingsley, who we all know and love as Skinny. Let's go. All right, I'm joined in studio yet again by Skinny Wabantwana. My brother, how are you, bro?
I'm good in yourself.
Very good, man. Thank you so much for being back in studio.
Yes.
Obviously, now you had an amazing session previously, which was really amazing. But now let us get to know your own personal journey, right? Skinny, where did the app development passion come from?
So I wouldn't say the app development passion, but I would say being a computer scientist in general.
Okay.
So, just to keep it simple, back in high school, teachers would actually say, we're taking you guys to open day universities. You need to choose which career you guys want to do.
Yeah.
At that time, I was focusing on music because I'm a musician as well, rapping and singing. So, but outside of that, I wanted something to use my, I would say, naughty skills. So naughty skills meaning that, breaking toys, breaking radios and connecting them as well.
Yeah.
So I got a chance to actually be exposed to actually programming them, because I used to build, robots using canned food, shoe boxes, till I met up with Geek Culture. Geek Culture said you can actually program this instead of having multiple remote control. That's when I saw that, okay, I can now consume the knowledge of programming these things, because I love IT, your Phineas and Ferb, Dexter's Laboratory, all these technology, animations and movies brought that to me. Then I started actually learning how to build robots using Arduinos. That's when the robotics came in as well. From then it was, how can I put these electronics into software? So hardware connecting with software. Now that's when the web application came through. From then I was just focusing on web applications, and now doing web applications and integrations with IoT, like your hydroponic systems and, watering your plants without you being there. As we speak, my plants are being watered at home. Without me worrying or anything as that. So the journey started there. Then from then I loved teaching. Got a chance to actually teach the former Minister of Public Works, Ayanda Dlodlo, and got a chance to actually teach the President just for a few seconds how, the LED and HTML work, and this was through Geek Culture as well. From then, my journey started saying that, I actually love teaching, I actually love solving problems as well. Yeah.
Hey man, it's always beautiful to hear somebody's story and how they turn that story, into passion. As he said, he's here, but his plants are being watered. I'm also here, and someone's cooking me a beautiful meal back home, so I never have to worry about that. My brother Skinny, thank you for being back here with us yet again. And obviously you have an amazing one, as you always do.
Thank you.
Enjoy, my brother.
Thank you so much.
Skinny.
Wabantoa.
Abandon.
Good day once more. I am back again, and I hope you guys are doing well. So today it's actually going to be an interesting session, and we're going to be doing a little bit of resting and not coding, but I am kidding. We are going to be doing a little bit of coding and working with REST APIs. So last time we were working on a survey management platform with the Django, and today we actually continue on that project with the REST API. So we are going to jump into our slide, and from then we're going to be going through the APIs and also how to actually build an API using Django. Okay, so Django REST framework. He is back and he is RESTful. Excuse me. So just a quick introduction to Django REST framework. So it is actually known that APIs are essential. So we're going to go into and we're going to try to understand what are the APIs and how we can use them. But now the API in general, they allow your front end or our front end application, whether it's a mobile app, a desktop app, or a web app, to actually interact with our backend application, and database as well efficiently. So now one of the most practical tools for building an API in Python is the Django REST framework. Okay, so DRF. So and whether you're building a small application or a large application, Django actually REST framework provides the tools to actually structure and secure and also scale your API application or your API as well. Now, why do we use DRF? So it is a build. It actually is built on top of Django, and it provides a range of features also that helps us to develop APIs quickly without suffering with flexibility or stressing with development as well. So now when it comes to the key features are simple. We have serialization, we also have authentication, generic views, we also have permissions, customization, and the community as well. This is what we have when it comes to the APIs. Okay, so now RESTful APIs at a glance, as they say. We have REST. So REST is representational state transfer, and it is it is actually a common design style for APIs, and we know that APIs is application interface, application programming interface. Yes. And it focuses on stateless communication and also structured data access via API endpoints, or endpoints if we can say. So /products, /user, or the ID as well. And RESTful APIs are structured across multiple industries for data-driven application. Okay. So now to get started, as you know, you still need to install Python, but if you already have, don't worry about it. Django should be installed as well. Check the version if they did not update. Also, you can run your Python or activate your virtual environment. Create a project if you haven't created a project, and now you're also going to need to install Django RESTful API or REST framework. So by doing that, you're just going to go to your terminal from our previous project, and this is where you are installing it. You just say install pip install Django REST framework. You can install that as well. Once that part is installed, you know you need to go to installed underscore apps to actually register your app, or just make sure that your app is actually registered under that section as well. So once you're done with that part, the next step would be, once everything has been installed, you need to add it in your settings.py and make sure that you can begin. Make sure that your application, when you run, your APIs are configured proper, because we're going to be creating APIs by creating an app and defining models, writing serializers, as well as setting up our views, and also the Django REST framework gives us the freedom to actually start small and also grow into more advanced use cases over time as well. Okay. Now, before we continue, what are APIs? APIs, as I mentioned, stands for Application Programming Interface, in short, and it is a way where softwares can talk to each other easy without anyone, crashing or trying to combine application. Maybe it should be hosted in my server, your server, and etc. No, it's actually simple. And it allows one application to access the data or the functionality from another. So now a real world example would be, think an application as a waiter at a restaurant. So there's me, there's the waiter, and there's a chef, right? So the waiter is our API, and I am the client. Ne? The waiter is more of our request. We telling the waiter, say, the waiter, today I would like to eat the spaghetti. The waiter takes that prompt or takes that message and goes back to the server, which the server is our kitchen, where the chef is, and say, hey, this user wants a pasta for today. What the chef guy will do would cook the pasta and come back to the waiter and say, okay, waiter, here's the pasta that the client ordered, and now you have the response. The response will be the food. Okay, that's how API works in general. So now, what is REST? As we mentioned, REST is representational state transfer, and a REST API is a type of API that allows specific rules, making communications between systems clean and also consistent, and it also uses the HTTP method, like the get method, the post method, the put and delete method, to perform actions on the data. So in our everyday example, when you open Instagram, it uses an API to fetch your feeds. They are being stored somewhere else, and they're using API endpoints to take them and display them. That's why we're always scrolling and seeing these things as well. And a weather app would also uses an API to get live weather data or weather updates from a server. So there's live weather APIs out there that you can actually build if you want to build, or you can build your own, if you like building your own APIs that get the temperature of a room and provide it into your smart device or your application. Another way is to actually put it in a simple explanation. So IoT wise, this is general knowledge. You have your IoT project, and this IoT project, it's connected in your daughter's room or your kid's room or whatever family room member, but you want to monitor their room temperature, humidity, just to check if everything is safe out there and etc. You would actually use an API endpoint to get those readings to your application as well, so that you are able to read that. So it's a simple explanation for the API. Now, why APIs in Django? So now Django provides us with a beautiful web framework that we mostly use to build our application, and now it is also good for creating great and tangible APIs. So within the application or within Django, you have the Django REST framework. So it's actually built in. You don't have to recreate everything from scratch, but some of the components you will be able to actually do that. The use cases, it will be powering your front end, like your React Vue.js with a backend as well. Then now there will be storing also payment or third-party apps like payment, social logins. If you want to use allow users to log in with their Google account, you will need API keys or API connections so that their account is linked with your application. Building dashboard as well to actually fetch live data to display them as well. Then how now API works in Django, it's actually simplified. You get the client which sends a request to the waiter. I need pasta. The waiter takes it and checks if everything finds, and Django checks the URL and finds a match and view. Then the view process the view processes the request and maybe talks to the database and say, hey, I need this to be displayed at size. That's when now you see the view seeing the data and etc. So with the last part of our project, we were able to see the what was the surveys displayed in a beautiful a front end. That's how it is. It's saying grab that into the database, bring it here into the front end. Now, for an example, let's say our application was built in React. Our backend was built in Python, Django. We want the two to communicate. Log in on the React, use the API to fetch the credentials to the database. Login register creates the account to the database using the API endpoints. Remember the SSO, that's how also it can be used with the API. You use the same credentials to other platforms using just one API, or you can build a few tweaks there with your endpoints as well. Now, Django tools Django uses for API is to build API in Django, and you will write you actually have views where you can handle the request logic, serializer to convert models data to or from a JSON as well, using routes to connect to your views, permissions, control who access the API. APIs also are very important. There's the public API, there's also the private API. Most companies, they work with private APIs, so you can also check other platforms as well. I hope FNB has a challenge where you guys get a chance to work with the APIs, maybe where you can pull data and display it in your application if you're building something related to the application. Authentication as well, like I mentioned, using tokens, access tokens, which these access tokens expire per sessions as well, so that it's for security purposes. Now, your first API, the ones that we did in our application, please do make sure you install this. Pip install Django REST framework, space, Django dash filter, DRF, which is Django REST framework dash YAS, and the Django REST auth. This is what we did. The RESTful, or not the RESTful, the libraries that we're going to be using on our RESTful API application. Okay. So this is just to break down the application itself. So Django REST framework and what it does and how to use it. And you also have the Django filter, what it does and how to use it as well. It's there, it's included, including the other plugin as well and the REST auth. So I'm not going to go through everything here because we want to code. Okay. Then we are going to run it, run, manage, run server. Okay, so while it's running, I'm gonna open it. Then I'm also gonna open the document that we had. Remember that beautiful document that we had? Okay, so we've installed these libraries, the RESTful API, the DRF, YASG, which is the Swagger docs generator, and the auth one as well. So ready-made authentication endpoint, like you log in and authentication, you should register them in your app. So how are we registering them in our application? Sorry about that. We go to our application, then we go to settings, then we go into our installed app, and there we go. Number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you need to register them there, or you need to add them there, so that when we run our API, these guys are being recognized on the application as well. Okay. So we're also explaining about the configurations on how DRF behaves and the permission as well. So permissions, as I did mention, whoever's logged in can write into using the API, the rest can just view, So viewing could be public. You can give them an API endpoint so that they can view and use their data to build whatever, but they cannot add or they cannot update that API endpoint or add data through that API endpoint without access. Authentication as well supports session for browsers and also tokens for API clients. Pagination has a nice, beautiful pagination as well. Filtering as well, Django filter, it's there as well. So we also give you a little bit explanation on the Swagger settings. So if you like Swagger stuff, just know we got you sorted out. We got you sorted out as well. Set up the Swagger to accept authorization header using the barrier token format, which is common for APIs that uses tokens. So check also how to create these tokens as well. Now, our project or our API directory should look like this. So you're going to create a folder inside the same folder that we had, the app surveys. You're going to call it API. Then after that, you're going to create these files. So the init file, which is __ init __ the serializer as well .py, and views.py, urls.py as well. Okay. So once that part is done, you can go to Django REST API for now. Let's Google that. Then go through these documentations, understand what if you want to expand, but I would advise you guys to expand your knowledge there. You would actually understand that, okay, serialization that supports both ORM and non-ORM data sources. You can also use authentication policies, including the packages for auth1 or auth2. So if you want to add, you also, I'm looking for that word, your two-factor authentication, or use the other plugins for your authentication as well. Findings, and these are the other tools that you can actually, check that uses API. We normally work with this one, Sentry. And it's a quiet platform. It has good APIs there, and we really like it, and it's easy to use, and the documentations are well written and well presented. So you can go through and they can show you what to install, play around with it, or you can even clone a project. Then from then you can actually test it on your own and how these things works. Okay. So once that part is done, you create your serializer.py, and now we're gonna go through the code, okay, before we step into the other stuff. Sure. So someone will ask you to create a serializer and say, okay, this serializer needs to serialize the choices model. So you have the choice model, multiple choices options. You need to define a new class, which is choice serializer, that inherits from the serializer.model serializer. So It's a built-in function plugin. And now it says that the model serializer is a class from Django REST framework that helps convert the Django model into JSON format, vice versa. Because JSON is actually easy to read as well. So you can go through everything here, and you'll also notice that now we also included defining a nested class called the meta inside the choice serializer and the Django REST framework. The meta class is used to configure the serializer with additional information as well. So now if we go back to our code, remember now we've added these two, not two, but five. Is 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes, we've added these guys. Remember, we also need to add these guys. So don't forget to add them. Make sure also these ones are added out. You can, loop through them. Then once you're done, you need to also add this part. This is to configure that, okay, we need to be using the default permissions, is it authenticated or read-only, filtering forms, if we need to filter the forms, authentication classes. These works with your tokens and your sessions as well. Sessions, token. Pagination as well is included. Page number 20, so display 20. And if it's more, you can click, the next page. And filtering backend as well, it's included. Once you're done, remember we've also added the swagger. Please include the swagger there, or swagger settings. Include them. Barrier, API key, authorization header is included as well. The rest would just be, let's see what we've added. Okay, you can add the static as well, URL, and say static. You can also add these guys there. And what else can you add? So since I'm on the live one, because I'm testing here, I've added this URL. It's actually this URL here, for trusted origins as well. Because if I remove it, let me show you. I might get an error. See, I'm getting an error. Couldn't connect to a server port and etc. So if you're facing this issue, just know you need to add the URL there. If it's on the local, it's going to be http local port number, whatever port number. Also add these two as well. So log in, log in redirect and log out redirect. Add these 3 lines, then you sort it out as well. Then we're good to go. Let me see. These 2 or these 5, I can undo them for now, but you can also add them as well. So for SSL not certificate, but secure SSL redirect, session cookies, SRF token as well. So on the previous one, if you check your code, you'll notice that we're using the loop, not the loop, but the login. We've added the token here. This is for security purposes. Okay, awesome. So we've created our API folder, permission. So this is the code for permission. This is the code for the serializer. This is the code for our URLs, as you can see. Then we also have the views. Okay, now let's check our documents. And as we explained the serializer for the choice serializer, there's no need for us to go through everything, but you will go through step by step to understand it proper for your better understanding. But the quick recap on it is just that the question 1 serializes the question model, includes the related choice using the choice serializer, and fields question details plus the related choices, read only. Serializer does 1, 2, 3 as well, surveys and etc. Now, the permission one, I hope is somewhere. Where is it? I'm looking for my permission. Okay, let's see. I might have missed the permission. Let's quickly do a search. Permission. Aha, there we go. Now, on the permission one, it ensures security and role-based access, right? It also allows your who needs to write to the API, who has access to the API, who needs to view it. If it's public, anyone else can view it as well. So that's how the code here works like, the permission one. There we go. So you're going to be using this. You're going to create your own file. It's not there. Remember, these ones, you create them. They're not automatically generated. You manually create them. Then once you manually created them, you would now say, okay, from REST framework import permissions, you create a class. Is it owner or read only? Then from there, you create your function that has, has an object permission. This one, permission, return true. If not, then you know that you don't have access to it. So now, read permissions allowed to any request. Here we'll say write permission only allowed to the owner. That's what's happening here. You can improve it, you can write it, and so on and so on. Okay, so this is our serializer that is available. Okay, that's the code importing our models. Don't forget our models. We have answer as well, serializer from our REST framework. Then your URL. So URL, we remember we also use include. You can also check what's happening with the URL as well. Adding a router equals to a default router. Then from there we register our routes by using these lines as well. Here, importing our views. These are our views. Okay, if we also added that permission here, remember that permission from permissions.import is the owner or read only. We're also importing the actions, our models, our count, our serializers as well. These are our views. So we have the create view set. So survey create view set. We have view set just to view. We have questions, we have choices, we have response, we have admin. Once you're done with this part, you go back to your roots, the main roots, the one in your project. You're going to say include API, right? You're going to create the path API/API, include the survey.api.urls. That's the URLs that we have here under our API. So yeah, this is our beautiful UI. Not beautiful, but it's getting there. It's getting there. So you have your surveys, you have your My Surveys. You can create your survey as I did demo in the previous one. Now, excuse me, we're going to start going to the APIs. You created your APIs, you've added everything, you configured everything properly, everything is fine. This is where now you will see your APIs. So these are your API endpoints. So it tells you that, 200, okay, that's what's happening. This is the default Django's REST framework UI. That's what I like about it. It provides you with its own UI. So if you click here, this is surveys. You click here. See, it's counting 4. In the database, we've added 4. Giving you okay, null, next, previous, no. It's giving you the URL of that project, not project, of that API endpoint. Details as well, ID number 1, title, all of those information that we have added. It's giving you guys the question as well, true if it's active, and you are able to actually see the other data sets as well, or data inputs in the API. So now what happens is that this is all of it. It provides you with the get method as well, the post, the head, and options. You can click here as well. Now, what if you want to get this API as a JSON? That will be your API endpoint. You can now say API endpoint, click that. You will be able to use this URL to actually pass it into your application, for an example, if you want. But this is how the API looks like. If you're using something called Postman, check out how Postman works like, download it. You would be able to actually paste that API endpoint on the on Postman, and be able to actually retrieve and pull data from there as well. Okay, so now the next question would be, how do I add now? So it created this endpoint here for us to add a question or to add anything. This is where we're creating the survey. I'm going to create another survey. Is it good to learn API? Tell us more. Is it active? Is it not? Then you paste it. There we go. If now we go to the database, not this one. Oh, there we go. If we refresh, we will be able to see that, not questions, but survey. There we go. Is it good to learn API? If you were using Postman or other anything, maybe your application, it's outside Django, you would use the API endpoint and you will actually give permissions to write to that API endpoint so that you add the information as well. So now, if you go to the project, there's a Git, not a Git, a README file, and this README file is under Node.js API connection. It's giving you guys a step on how to actually build a website using Node.js, using Express. Just a simple one. You don't have to worry about it that much. And it's actually providing you guys with that API endpoint. It's actually saying that your Django API endpoint would be pasted here. You see? So in this case, let's say our API, maybe I'll go to the API root and I go to the create one. This is the create one. It would be like this. Paste it like that. It will be something like that. And the local will be http / localhost with the port number / API / surveys / create, so that you're able to actually create your API from that other application. But this is the get method. I was just making an example. This is a get method, meaning that if we want to get this data here, instead of / create, we are also adding just surveys. Then you're pulling the data from another application to a different application. Whether it's your mobile app, you've built it with that, with Flutter, Angular, Java, API endpoints, just one URL, you pull it on your application, you are able to actually read through it or get the data as well. Okay. Let's see what is next after that part. No, this was just explaining the URL. Okay, so now with the URLs, we do have the response and answers as well. So if you go back to your API and app root answers, I select answers, then I'll be able to see that there's only one answer there, okay, that was available. So let us now do a little bit of testing again. I'm gonna take a survey. What about it? It's the coolest tool ever. Submit. Good. Submitted. Refresh. There we go. Question 1. It's showing you which questions as well. So each time the user interacts with your application, that's what's happening. It gets updated automatically and all these things and etc. So now in general, APIs are actually powerful. You need a key as well. You need a project ID. You need, just in case you're working with other different platforms, like maybe Google Maps, for example. You wanna use their APIs to actually display maps. And from your maps, you want to display different location where developers are located in South Africa. Not their actual houses, but the area, for just for the sake of them explaining. Then you know that you're going to need the app ID, your keys, and other necessary information. But if it's your own application, you can create the other IDs if you want. I've seen other people do it. But you can create an endpoint that is very, very simple and provide it to your developers, your users. Say, okay, guys, I need you guys to build this application. This application is going to list all answers that have been submitted from our survey. With those answers, you guys need to display in a, how can we put it? in a nice view manner, in a that way. Then you know that, okay, they're just going to take that API endpoint and just put it there and make sure that it's visible. And once it's done visible, this is how on the application Node.js, for an example, there's that part where I was explaining here. There's a section that says, okay, this is how you're going to be displaying your application. If data, you added the two ends, data length is equals to this, then you add this, blah, 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 whatever you know, the nice code. This is to display the content there. There's another code that actually you can, instead of converting your data to display in a form of a JSON, it will allow you to actually form in a form of list instead of seeing those, where are those JSONs? Get API, instead of seeing this, it's going to show you proper as well. So another user would say, I have a similar app like this, but I do not want to display these survey list like that. How can I actually do that? You can go on Google. You can just say Google, not Google, but you can say get Bootstrap. After doing get Bootstrap, you go to your documentation. Then from there, you look for cards. Then you say, okay, my cards are something like this. Then you know that from your application, you will pull those data. If the API has an image, you will be able to actually use that image to display it here. Also the title, the description if it's there, and go to, in this case, our application. Where is it? This one. If I say view detail, it's taking me to the view detail, what about it, and etc. Okay, we've never created the URL for this, sorry about that. But results, you can also see results. Maybe it's something that you guys can work on as well. Edit, you can edit here instead of the admin. Remember, we do both have the admin side as well, but you can edit them here as well. See, and add more if you want to add more. So that's how API works as well. So there is ways to actually create these APIs, and for the sake of this session, we're just going through what you can do with an API, how you can actually create them, and also the documents that we also need to share with you guys. There's another one that explains proper. There we go. Here, this is the steps also on how to actually install the Axios. So for Node.js as well. From then you'll be able to actually pull the data from your Django application to another application as well. So play around with those things as well, because the moment you have API skills, how to work with APIs, anything is actually easy, because APIs allows you to work with cloud servers where they will require you to connect with APIs. If you want to display data from one server to another server, or content from another server to another server, those are the APIs. Then you can actually use this to practice, and from practicing you'll be able to actually build application that uses APIs to communicate. So that's how the API works. And what did we leave? Let's see. API response. Remember, now we check the answers. Now we're going to check the response, how they look like. So now these are the responses. It's telling you, okay, ID number, survey, which survey, number 4. Response, it's the number of the people who responded. We say 1. And when it was created, the answer, question, text your answer. If it's choices, they will add them here. If it's no choices, it's going to add them empty. Same applies to that as well. Now, the filtering part comes here. I would say I want this one, and I say skinny, and I post. Then it's giving me that. Oh, let's see, this field is required. Okay, we can see that it's saying it is the more or less the same. So you can also check out the permissions. FNB is the coolest, King's skinny, and all these things, very accepted. We're not getting an error, but it just say this field is required. Now, this field is required. It goes to our permissions as well. So now if we also go to our views, we need to check something. permission choices is authenticated, and we say query sets and all these things. This is a read only as well, response and related as well. Question and response, so question and response. So right now, instead of us survey, so here, let's see, maybe I'm not doing the correct things. Answer, no filter on answer, response, survey. Aha, I see. So instead of survey, we were supposed to actually add questions here. So please check it out. Maybe add questions and display so that they can display the correct data. But that is how it should work. So maybe under response, you would actually now replace survey response with questions as well, so that you are able to actually do that, to display and filter your APIs as well. So if you go back to the front page, this is the API. We can say get that, put it in a pretty way. You can also get those ones as well. If I copy this, paste them on the new browser, get a nice API being displayed there as JSON data as well. So another thing I don't like about this guy is you cannot use the browser on any other device. It needs to be the same one logged in. So for example, if I try to use it on this browser, it's going to tell me about, errors, workstation and whatnot. But on the local or on the live server, that is totally fine as well. You can actually use that. So now, as we wrap up the API session, so I wanted also to actually get a chance to explain to you guys, how would you actually deploy your application? So if you go on Google and search Django deployment, it's going to show you guys how to actually deploy your project, how to deploy a project on Render, but also on Google. Where's Google? I saw Google here as well. There's ways that you can actually do. The one that I like is actually Heroku. This is where you would actually be able to actually launch your application, deploy your application. You can view that documentation as well, or you can also do this. Django deployment GitHub actions. Okay, this will actually allow you to set up your workflow. So giving you guys guidance on how to actually set up your own workflow. So if you have branches, you have pull requests and whatnot and etc., then it's going to build, pip install. This is your YML, like your GitHub workflow. So go through around that, loop through in GitHub, understand how it works, deploy it on your own if you haven't. I'm definitely sure there's where we can communicate as well. We will communicate, ask questions, tell us, hey, I'm stuck here. I'll be able to actually assist as well. But the GitHub repo will be updated with just text content. We're not going to update the code. We're just going to update the text content on the readmes so that you can go back and say, oh, I see. I need to do 1, 2, 3 step by step. This is how you actually build. By the time you're done with those steps, you'll have a fully functional survey data management system. So please check it out as well. Download Postman. Know how to use Postman. You can check other API platform as well, but Postman is the most common one. You can check them out, and I am definitely sure you'll be an API legend by the end of this course session as well. Don't be afraid to read documentation. You can also search and just say REST. Don't be afraid to build these applications, to work with this documentation as well. They're quite good. I like them. We use them. Don't be scared. The community also use them as well. I am definitely sure the applications that you are using, they use API as well. FNB uses APIs. Other application uses API. We use API. We create APIs. Everything is about API. So I hope you guys enjoyed this today's session. We did not go into typing. We're just going through laying out everything, the typing, it's on you. Because remember, you need to do the work so that you can understand how it works as well. So I thank you for joining in. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I'll be available. I think there's a group chat as well that we are in. If you need any help, please reach out. Say, I'm stuck, I'm having error. If you don't want to ask AI, you can ask me. I'll be your AI. But other than that, thank you guys for joining, and make sure you do rest with your APIs. Thank you.
All right, that was an amazing session right there from Kingsley, aka Skinny. It's always amazing to have Skinny in studio and for him to take us through some amazing lessons right there. Please, let us get over to social media and let's give Skinny some flowers, and also let Skinny know whatever questions you guys have for him in regards to today's lesson. Don't forget to hashtag FNB App Academy. Keep social media buzzing, as we always love to see what you guys are up to on our social media spaces. All right, guys, so that's it for today's lesson. I am your host, Karabo Mohole. See you guys next time, as next time we'll be learning about AI and also how to use it in development. Cannot wait for that lesson, which will be amazing, man. I hope you guys are excited for that. All right, guys, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.